Welcome to the podcast, the Josh and Jake episode. This is going to be, actually, we're starting a new Nickelodeon television show, Josh and Jake. Josh and Jake.
Jake and Josh.
Jake and Josh.
Do it again.
Jake and Josh.
Jake and Josh. Jake and Josh. Sales survival guide.
Sales survival. I want to honestly say I have no idea what the actual Nickelodeon show is. What is it called?
Drake and Josh.
Drake. So like that's a show?
Yeah, it's a show. I know there's a little bit of an age gap here, but I grew up watching about 10 years. Yeah, I grew up watching Drake and Josh. It was one of the best Nickelodeon shows. Wow.
So is that why people always, make little jokes when we're like, "Oh, this is Jake and Josh"?
Yeah, that's 100% because it sounds like Drake and Josh, the Nickelodeon show. It's one of their best shows. Now,
is it funny?
I think it's cheesy, humor, cheesy like kids sitcom.
So it's a kid show.
Oh, it's it.
Is it like like Saved by the Bell vibes? Like that's what I grew up on, was Saved by the Bell.
Kind of.
Zach Morris.
I think I've seen I know Saved by the Bell is a show, but
yo, have you seen? Okay, literally no joke. Grew up huge crush on Tiffany Amber Thiessen. I mean, just
I don't even know who that is.
Oh my god! I think she's like 50-something years old, and
she's still so embarrassed.
She still looks gorgeous.
What's her name?
Even to this day.
What's her name?
Tiffany Amber Thiessen, I think.
Tiffany Amber.
I mean, she's about the only one who aged well in that show.
Oh dang! She looks great.
Except for AC Slater. Yeah,
she looks.
AC Slater's a freaking stud.
So what show was she? She was on Saved by the Bell, or what was the?
Okay, I'm sorry for somehow all of a sudden I have now sent your husband down some crazy rabbit hole.
Was this the Brady Bunch?
No, Saved by the Bell, bro. You're not that young. Saved by the Bell is legendary.
No, I literally
Saved by the Bell, the absolute legendary. Yeah, Lopez.
Yeah.
Mario Lopez. What a stud he is.
1989, dude. Like I was born in 95.
That is true.
So
you are so young.
You got to think about that.
When did you learn how to drive?
Well, I learned how to drive when I was 14. So that would have been
on a tractor or a car.
First on a tractor, and then on a car out on dirt roads in Clovis, New Mexico.
I want to talk to you about your accents, bro.
One time,
your accent on the Glenn Levitt thing that we did. I mean, when I kept listening back, I was like, "This thing is going from Scottish to Irish all of Jamaican." It's like you really just dip in and out of these cultures.
I think if I actually practiced, I could be halfway decent.
I could totally see you being a thespian, bro. I think
I
did. Legitimately.
I did theater. I was in a Shakespeare play.
You did theater and you raised cows.
I did theater and I raised cows. Yeah, people didn't know what to think of me because
you look like a PacSun model.
Shout out to PacSun.
Yo, have you seen any other stores recently? Huge shift in the way they're doing stuff.
Nah, I just order all my clothes online. I don't even go to the mall.
Do you actually order your clothes, or does this K buy your clothes for you?
No, I buy my clothes.
Do you?
I buy my clothes. I wear Lululemon pants because they're nice and soft.
Yeah. Wear built shirts.
And Buck Mason. I really like Buck Mason. Buck Mason shirts are great. Now, this shirt is actually from Target. Because
it's very artistic.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's from Target.
No, it looks very thespian. It looks like you were trying to go down to the local Franklin Theater and apply
and do some type of monologue. Yeah,
just a monologue.
Hey, speaking of theater, though, there was a student play in college I was in called Glengarry Glen Ross. Have you ever seen that? Have you ever? Chiquis knows it. It's a sales show. It's about salesmen.
Glengarry Glen Ross.
Oh, so the famous scene from Alec Baldwin where he says, "Always be closing."
Yes,
that's from that movie.
Oh,
so it's a movie. It's a show. It's by David Mamet, I think. It was a play first, and then adapted to.
Well, it shows that you don't have to watch crap about sales to be successful at sales because I haven't seen it and I crushed. No, I'm gonna go watch it though.
It's actually a good movie. It has
Did you ever watch The Wolf of Wall Street?
Al Pacino's in it. Yeah.
Have you?
I actually love that movie.
Have you asked for forgiveness since watching that show?
Yeah, I had to ask for forgiveness multiple times.
That show is just...
It is insane.
Yeah,
but it's really well written. The dialogue is great. Now it's crazy.
every statement when you're talking about Game of Thrones, you're talking about the Sopranos,
the dialogue,
you're talking about 16. I mean, just so well written. It's like as if that offsets all of the horrible soft pornography that goes on inside of those shows. It's like saying the wings are actually good at Hooters. I mean, but the way they cook them, I mean, it's just next level.
Gourmet. I mean, it's just
nobody
the
gets the sauce like Huda's. Nobody. I mean, it's like, okay, that's not, no one's there for the wings. You go to Wings, you go to Wingstop. Yeah. If you're in Texas, you go to Pluckers, but you don't.
We used to go to Hooters in college, and I'm dead serious. We went there.
We or just you?
No, me and my college buddies.
Your crew.
My crew.
What was your crew like in college?
Dude, they were.
What is this episode going to be about?
We were kind of degenerates. We had one guy who was extremely smart. Right now, he's a professor at a college in Chicago. He's like a biochemist. This Dude would go hard every weekend.
Okay, just so you know in the context.
No. I know we were talking about Hooters. When I say like, we would go out and party, and he would
keep going.
He would go crazy. Like he could outdrink everyone, and then he would be up.
Do you think he biohacked his ability?
There was something he was doing in the labs, man. But he would outdrink everyone, and then he'd wake up early on Sunday morning, go to the gym, and study in the library for like 4 hours. And graduated like top of his class and everything. Me, on the other hand, I'd be like, I'm dead for the next 3 days. Like, I can't.
Now you're in sales with an ex-musician. It's like, well, we know who did well in college and who did not. Okay, what are we talking about today?
So today,
something of value has to be.
Yeah, so we are actually wanted to talk about the leadership, and specifically the leadership frame when it comes to taking sales calls and how to apply that. Because I think a lot of salespeople, what happens is they move in and out of leadership. Like if you were to draw a line and you had the prospect and you had the sales pro and then you had like leadership on one end, you'd probably see them move in and out of it, where the prospect is above the salesperson and the salesperson's below, and then it switches. So what we want to dive into is how to maintain that throughout the entire call. So what I would like you to dive into is specifically when it comes to maintaining the leadership frame. First of all, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, that's a really great question. What it means to me to maintain the leadership frame is that at all times I am leading or guiding the prospect to the best decision for them. Okay. Now, the leadership frame is not a dictatorship. It is not me dominating. Leadership frame does not mean that I talk 80% of the time and the prospect talks 20. It does not mean those things. It means that I am the guide for this moment and for this opportunity and for this conversation that we're having, because I am also aware that there are other things that are going on in that prospect's life. This, as much as I would love it as a sales pro to believe that the only thing that this prospect is thinking about is our sales call, they are not whatsoever. So to maximize their time, to honor their time, to make it as efficient as possible, I'm going to lead this call. So that way, this call at some point, whether this right here in this moment or in a week, or if it's, super long sales cycle, something like that, and it's, a 6-month type of sales cycle, big B2B offer, we will come to a natural conclusion at some point through the leadership. The way I follow up, the way I frame everything that I do is to lead this prospect for what's best for them, whatever that is.
Yeah. So leadership is not telling them this is what you need to do. Because I think a lot of people assume leadership being, well, you need to do this, almost forcing a decision or persuading a certain decision or perspective. But in your mind, it is guiding that individual to make a decision.
Yeah, I mean, persuasion is really big. I think Chris Voss is actually about to come out with a new book or something about persuasion. And I know it's a hot topic inside of sales. I don't ever want to persuade a prospect. I want the prospect to persuade themselves. I want them to realize this is what's best for me based off of the conversation we've had, the information provided, the emotion that I feel, the logic that I'm making this decision with. I want them to come to the natural conclusion, this is what's best for me. And that is possible because this leader over here, sales professional, has created a conducive environment and has led me to this natural conclusion. Now, as a leader, now I'm going to get this deal across the line. Because now that we're in alignment and agreement of what's best for you, now I'm going to lead and get that deal across the line. But I'm not ever, I mean, trust me, if it was as simple as just telling people what to do, I would take on any sales pro that has ever existed in this world. Because there's nobody in the world that loves telling people what to do more than me. I promise you that much. I love telling, but it is not the key to success.
Yeah.
As much as I wish it was, it is not. So that is not what leadership is. It is not telling people what to do, but rather guiding the prospect.
What are some examples that you've seen with sales professionals where they fall out of leadership frame? And why do you think that happens?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I don't think there's an easy answer. I think there's a lot of different reasons why a sales professional will fall out of leadership frame. Sometimes it could be due to they're selling something that is more expensive than they could afford to buy themselves. They've never invested that much, so they have a hard time doing that. That statement is the objections that you align the most with are the ones that you're going to deal the most with. It's a paraphrase of it. It's like somebody will follow a leadership frame because in some way they feel inferior to the prospect. They think the prospect has more money. One of our favorite sales pros, even his testimony to working with us was that we taught him how to speak to people with money who have more money than him, have more experience with him. And we showed him how he could maintain the leadership frame still, because it's like, dude, you're a great sales professional. You're becoming inferior. You're not leading just because this person might have more experience and more whatever. The amount of like successful people I've talked to that I would describe as successful that can talk to a billionaire and help them solve a problem. It's like, how could you help a billionaire when you yourself are just maybe you're only worth a couple $1 million? How could you solve a billionaire's problems all day long? You know what I mean? So it's just a matter of leading. So I think people fall out of leadership because somehow they feel inferior. There's an insecurity. They believe a counterfeit lie that they don't have the answer. They don't know enough. Something has caused them to feel or act in a way that now it's like, oh, well, maybe the prospect's right. Maybe they know more. Oh, I don't know how to answer this. Maybe they don't have enough product knowledge. Maybe they don't know their offer that well. They don't actually know how their solution to people's problems will actually solve their problems.
Yeah. So I want to hit on two things, but the first thing I want to hit on, you mentioned, is what would your advice be to a sales professional who is selling a product that they can't afford, right? And they have to maintain that leadership frame. Let me give you a specific example. Let's say you are selling a luxury car brand. Let's say that you're selling like Rolls-Royce, but you can't afford that, right? Let's say you only make 150, maybe 200 a year. And you have a nice car, maybe you have a BMW or something, but you're not going to afford a $500,000 vehicle. Mm-hmm. How do you maintain leadership frame?
I love that you brought this analogy up. It's a very good question. How do you maintain leadership frame when you are selling something that you yourself could not at that moment purchase? I know somebody who works within the Bentley Rolls-Royce, family, and they drive a Toyota, a nice one. Like, what are those, Sequoias?
Santa Fe.
What's
Santa Fe came out. Is actually pretty cool.
Isn't that
like it.
Hyundai?
Oh yeah, it is Hyundai.
Yeah, I think. Oh yeah, that new Santa Fe is nice.
Yeah.
No, but it's like a Toyota Sequoia that's like a huge, big SUV.
Like an SUV.
Yeah. Anyways, that's what they drive, but they sell Bentleys and Rolls Royces. I think the way that you can operate in that is that you have got to be man, you got to be confident in who you are. You got to know what you are. You have to be passionate. I think about the product, the vehicles. You better sure as heck know what you're talking about. You better know how to present yourself in such a way that is professional, that you are very service-based. I believe that people can sell things that they themselves can't afford. I know that because I sold something that I had never purchased, or at the moment when I was selling it, I couldn't afford. I have sold $100,000 offer before at the time that I could not physically go to my bank account and allocate $100,000 to go to a program. But how was I able to sell that? Because I was confident and bold enough in who I was to solve someone's problems, meaning that I could maintain leadership frame and say, hey, let's ask you a question. Let's talk. Let's engage. Let's go through this, right? And let's see, is this the best solution for you? Because when you know your sales process, I know that I'm going to go through an intro. I'm going to go through a diagnose phase. I'm going to go through a prescribe phase. And then I'm going to have the closing. I'm going to make sure that there is an invitation for that person to accept this solution. And if I know how to do that, and it doesn't really matter who I'm talking with, because no matter what they say, they're still looking for a solution. If the solution is a car, I just want a new car. I want a new lease. I want a new color, whatever. Well, you're looking for it. So let's figure out, why do you want those things? How would that help you? Why do you want it? What type of terms do you want on those? What are you really looking for? And I'm here to serve you. So whether I can afford it or not, that's not what's in question here. Yeah. Can you afford it? Do you want it? Is this beneficial for you? How will this help you do X, have X, feel X, experience X, whatever that is? So as long as I'm the facilitator, the leader, then I can do it. Does that answer the question?
It does. It seems like, to be clear, what you're saying is you're almost removing the emotion out of it, where you're like, hey, I have a process that I follow. And it's not, again, the question is not, can I afford it? Can you afford it? And here's the criteria to see if you do. I got another.
Well, can I?
Yeah.
Okay. This is good. It's not removing the emotion. It's keeping the emotion where it needs to be and keeping logic where it needs to be. I can be passionate, have emotion about our product. Oh, I'm passionate about this product. It will do this. I'm passionate about these vehicles. I love these vehicles. What I love about, this high-end supercar, this Maserati or whatever it is, I love it because it does this. And I know all these things. I am passionate about this, that which will create such a level of belief and conviction, right? Because belief is caught, not taught. I can project that belief, that passion, that emotion onto you. But first, I'm going to use logic to find out whether or not I can do it or not. So I want to make sure you don't remove emotion. You just, it's in its
right place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stays in its lane.
So what would you do? So another situation, there's really, I'd say 3 situations where I see the leadership frame, salespeople losing leadership frame. One, they're selling something that they can't afford themselves. Second one is they're selling a service or a product that they might not be the expert in, right? So let's use the example of someone who is selling marketing services, selling a marketing agency, but they don't know really anything about marketing. They've never run ads or done graphic design or SEO or whatever the agency sells. So how do you maintain leadership frame when the prospect's like, well, have you ever done this? How do you know this is the right decision for me? You don't run ads. You don't do SEO. How do you handle that situation?
Yeah. One, for them to know that, somehow you would have to have given up that information.
So making a mistake.
You've made a mistake at some point by, voluntarily giving that information over. Because I very rarely had people be like, well, how much have you done this? How much have you done that? And I'll be like, well, what do you mean, how much have I done this? Well, Here's how I answer that question. If I am a team member, I am a part of an offer, that means I'm and I sell that offer. It also means I'm a part of the solution. Well, how many people have you ever helped do an SEO? Well, thousands. What do you mean by that? Well, we've helped thousands of people. No, you personally. Well, here's the deal though. Let me ask you this. The person who, cooks your food at the restaurant, Do you have them fix your car? No, you don't. You have a mechanic fix your car. And then you have a chef cook your food at the restaurant. Do you have the mechanic cook your food? I wouldn't. I'd have a mechanic fix my car. So what I am, the first person who's going to find out, and I'm diagnosing, do you even have a pain point? If you do have a pain point, then I'm going to make sure that you're partnered with the best person that can actually help you solve that. Or I'll use the doctor analogy. When's the last time you went into a doctor's office and you had a doctor prescribe you a medicine solution, gave you an actual cast on a broken arm without first seeing the nurse practitioner? And before you saw the nurse practitioner, tell me the last time you ever walked into any medical facility, hospital, whatever, and you didn't have to talk to an assistant, or what are they called? Front desk somebody, right?
Yeah.
You didn't have to talk to somebody at the front desk. You could be in agony and they're still going to make you fill out all that stupid paperwork. That's what I'm here to do. I'm here to find out, do you need to go see a doctor? Do you need to go see the nurse practitioner? If you do, then great. Now you got an actual serious thing going on in your business, and you need a specific doctor to fix that. Do you want just some random person that's done it a couple times, or do you want somebody who's been doing it for years? Right. So I take on, to answer the question, I guess maybe more specifically, if I am selling something that I myself have not done, actually sold it, but I'm a sales professional, then I embody and I bring on and I take on the belief that I am a part of the larger solution. I'm a part of a company, or I'm part of an entity or a solution at large. And my role in this, it'd be the same as the thumb being pissed at the pinky. How dumb is that? Well, when I grab that door handle, what's grabbing more of it? The index finger and the thumb, and the pinky's just guiding? I mean, whoa, should I just go ahead and just cut off my pinky? Like, how stupid is that? And yet people use that way of thinking. Well, I mean, you haven't done it. Right. I'm not the SEO person. I'm the person on the front end dealing with acquisitions. I can show you acquisitions, but I know who to guide you and direct you to. So do you actually want to solve this problem, or do you want to be worried about if I've done it or not?
Yeah. It's almost like, I like the restaurant example, or the example of like if you're building a house, but in a restaurant, you have the waiter, you have the bartender, you've got the whole different role of in the back kitchen of different chef roles and what all they do and everything. So it would almost be the equivalent of someone coming in and saying, oh, well, waiter's going to take my order, but do you know how to actually cook the food? No, I don't, but I'm a part of a team that creates a world-class experience that you're going to have at this restaurant. So I'm not personally going to do it, but we have a whole team of people, and together we will create that experience, create that meal, whatever it is that you order. Same thing when you're building a house. You're going to talk with the contractor, but is the contractor going to be the one building the house? Do they know what needs to be done to the roof, how to lay the foundation? Yeah, they probably maybe know some basics. Are they going to do it? Probably not.
Right. I think the easiest way to maintain a leadership frame in this scenario of, hey, I've never actually done this, but I'm just a salesperson, is to leverage analogies. Honestly, anytime you feel like you're getting put back into sales frame, right? I believe Clough talks about this in Pitch Anything. Somebody's trying to put you in sales frame, right? And it's like they're trying to say, oh yeah, well, you're just a salesperson, do that. And it's like, well, what do you mean by that? And then you can leverage an analogy and you can put them back into, leadership frame and say, don't just say I'm just a salesperson, because this business is much larger. That would be the equivalent of saying, the nurse practitioner doesn't know jack about medicine because she's not the one who actually, did this. Or better yet, the pharmacist is the one who actually has to fill the script. So what are they, dumb? They don't know anything, right? It's like, no, that's not the case at all, right? So everybody plays their role. Anytime you get with somebody like that, basically you're just dealing with somebody who does actually understand how business works, or they don't understand how life works. Because to isolate one person and say, oh, that's the only person who's of value, man, I would hate to ever work for you.
Yeah. What would your advice be to a leadership team to help instill belief with individuals if they are selling services? Like, should a leadership team actually educate on how their services work? Like, should the salesperson know how, their marketing works at a base level, or do you not want them to have that education? But how should a leadership handle that so they do build belief in leadership in their services and product?
This is really good. This is a good question. Should a business give sales professionals more product knowledge? Right? Yeah. Not to oversimplify your question. 100%. I think a business should do everything they can to empower and equip and educate their team members. And I mean every team member. HR should know what sales does. Sales should know what ops does. Marketing should know what HR does. I mean, because we're one big unit. Regarding salespeople, the only problem I have with getting too deep into product knowledge or exactly how I do it is for some reason salespeople, instead of leveraging that to build their belief and confidence, somehow salespeople start leveraging it to coach their prospects. So the downside to me with too much product knowledge, I don't even know how you have too much product knowledge, but maybe the double-edged sword of it is that I believe that salespeople try to use it to coach right there on the moment. So as a sales professional, you have to realize it is good for you to have a breadth of your offer and where you're at and the company and knowing. I mean, that should empower you, because what that does is it should build your belief, which then ignites your conviction, right? And that conviction is a deeper seated belief. It's when you know it's raining outside and no matter what anyone tells me, I'm taking an umbrella because I am convicted that I need this umbrella. I have such a level of belief that this umbrella is going to help me with the rain. The only thing you need to be aware of, the deeper you go with your knowledge of your company as a sales pro, is don't leverage it to coach, because you are not paid to coach. If you solve that person's problem right there on the spot, and I mean literally lay everything out for them, then they're not going to need you. They're going to think, oh, now I got everything I need.
And what's worse is if you lay everything out, you might build the confidence that they can do things on their own without your services. And the reality is, if your company is phenomenal at what it does, they are going to be in a worse place than if they hired you to do it. Because they might say, "Oh, everything that you said, that sounds great. I'm gonna do that myself." Or now I understand what I need to work on.
Yeah.
Versus actually getting the help that they need.
Yeah, and it I don't know why I feel like I need to throw out this disclaimer. It's not that there's never any level of coaching or any level of guidance. It's that I'm not sitting here trying to answer and solve your problems and questions them. What I'm trying to do is expose that you have a problem and then invite you to a solution. But that solution is going to come at its best bet through implementation of our team. That's why guys like Alex Hormozy say, give everything away, give your best stuff away for free, because he understands the power that it's the implementation that I can really charge for. Because let's be honest, there is so much phenomenal free information already on the internet. Right. Why isn't everybody a billionaire? Why doesn't everybody have six-pack abs? Why doesn't everybody the greatest parent in the world? Accountability, implementation, right? So I think as a sales pro, you want to leverage that knowledge, build up your belief system, which makes you a great leader on the call, but do it to still honor your process and follow through.
Right. The other question I had in regards to this is, I think the other way salespeople fall out of leadership frame is, how do you deal with someone who's what's the word they use? An alpha? Someone you get on the phone and they're like, yeah, just tell me how much the services are. Tell me what you do. I mean, I've talked with people before where they're like, yeah, just pitch me. I'm like, pitch you on what? Just pitch me on what you offer. Well, I don't know what you need. We just go back and forth. But how do you handle a business owner or an individual or a prospect that has that, and this applies to females as well, has that alpha, more masculine energy?
Yeah. One thing that I have learned so far to date, when you get on an alpha, somebody who is just, going to go that route. All right. They're going to try to be like, tell me the brass tacks. Yeah. Just tell me what it costs, or whatever they say. Just pitch me. Like, they want you to dance like a monkey. You have to maintain the leadership frame and be like, what do you mean pitch you? Yeah. Pitch me. What do you do? Well, we do a lot. What do you want? What is it that you need help with? Right. But you cannot alpha an alpha, because all that's going to do is cause them to have that resistance. It's going to cause them to flare up. Now, there are certain people like me that you have to challenge, but in the manner that you challenge them is not to belittle them, but to challenge them in a way to think bigger, to think differently, to see it from a different angle, as opposed to making them feel dumb, trying to show them they don't know as much as you know. I mean, I've heard some of these sales pros, they get on with like, very alpha personality, man or woman. And they'll be like, yeah, well, I mean, that's not how that works. And then the prospect's like, well, no, it's been working that way in my business. Yeah, but it's probably not working the way it should. And it's like, you're getting nowhere with these people. So to maintain leadership frame with an alpha, it's not to be combative with them, it's to partner with them and be like, well, why don't you tell me more about what you're doing? And then we can find out if I should even waste your time with, a pitch. And I'll say it like that. Be like, well, I mean, I just need to know what you do. Well, we do a lot of different things. Can you tell me what you know about our company so far? And then they're like, well, I know you do this or you do that, but like, how will that help me? I don't know. Would you be opposed to me asking you a couple questions to find out if we can even help you? The last thing I would want to do, you sound like a very busy individual owner. So the last thing I want to do is, waste your time. Can I ask you a couple questions to find out if this conversation should continue? See, I'm leading. I'm asking. I'm letting you have permission. I'm letting you get to answer. I am going to lead with a no-based question. Would you be opposed? Would you be against? People love answering no, right? As great Chris Voss says, people love answering no. Well, great. Let's ask them a question they can say no to, right? I'm going to lead with something like that. Would you be against me asking you a couple questions to see if we could even be a good fit for you? Well, no, I guess not. Okay, great. Tell me a little bit about your business. What even had you want to book this call? All right, tell me a little bit about what you're doing. How are you all trying to solve this problem right now? And I'm going to make it about them. The faster I can make it about them and they can see that I'm not here to be like, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and I can make it about them, they'll start to disarm. They'll start pushing down those walls that they have up and flare up. Then from there, I can guide the conversation where it goes.
Yeah. So how do you, in those situations, because one of the things you brought up is not fighting fire with fighter. Fighter with fighter.
Yeah.
Fire with fire, not fighting fire with fire, like someone almost matching their energy in a way. How do you do that in a way where you don't enter an inferior frame? Does that make sense?
Yes.
What I'm asking? Because I could see a salesperson falling into the trap.
Give me something alpha.
Yeah, Josh, I jumped on here and I wanted to just find out how you can help me. Can you just tell me what your services are and what that looks like?
Yeah, not a problem. I don't know if I can help you. Would you be opposed to me asking you a couple questions to see if I can help you?
Yeah, as long as it's, quick. I don't have a ton of time, but I wanted to hop on this call and just find out what you guys did.
Yeah, not a problem. I mean, I don't have a ton of time. I know we did set aside 30 minutes for this call and you accepted that calendar, but are you still good for that 30 minutes?
Yeah, I have, about, 25 right now.
Okay, cool. So let me see what I can do in 20 minutes. And then if I feel like we should keep talking, I'll set up another call after that. Does that sound fair?
Yeah, that would be fine.
Okay.
Yeah,
do you see how I'm matching your energy, but I'm not against you?
Right.
And then when I say 30 minutes and then you try to say 25, great. I'm going to drop below that and be like, great, I'm going to see what happens. And if he says, well, I really only have about 15. Okay, then I'm going to find out in the next 10 minutes what we can find out so that we can set up another call. And I've only ever had to go down to, I think 15 minutes back when we were booking 45 minutes calls, and we dropped down to 30, 25, 20, and I got all the way down to 15. I said, well, we can stop talking and I'll start asking you questions so that way I can see what I can get done in 15. Would you be opposed to that since we were just kind of going back and forth? And I had to be a little stern. I still wasn't aggressive, but I was like, you need to know. And I don't give a damn what number you say. I'm just going to say a different number because I'm not here for you to be some peacocking alpha. I am here to see, do you even have a problem that we can solve?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's all right. Give it to me again.
The alpha. Same one?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Josh. So, great connecting. Again, I just wanted to kind of see what you offer. Can you just tell me what your services are, and we'll just go from there. I can decide if if I want to work with you.
Yeah, no, sure. Yeah. Let me try to just dive in real quick then to just see. I mean, obviously we've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah, but real quick, Josh, just can you just give me an outline of like what exactly you guys do? I couldn't find anything on the website, so I had to book this call. You just like list out.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. Can I ask you a couple questions about what we do?
Yeah, I don't have how long is it going to take?
I don't know. I mean, I'll make it quick.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine if you can make it quick. Just I don't have a ton of time.
Okay, yeah. So again, what we do here is, we'll come into your business. We're gonna, talk through a couple things. We'll go through this, then we'll do this, and then we'll probably have this, and then this will allow us to go through and do this, and that's kind of like the overall thing. What questions do you have for me?
Yeah, I mean, all that makes sense. Can you just email this over to me?
Yeah. I mean, do you have any questions? All right, I'm going to end the roll. Do you see how that's what we've actually heard people do when we do these call reviews, right? And inside
they
the program,
immediately drop. They're like, oh, well,
yeah. And then they're just like, oh, they're very busy and they're a business owner. So they must be very busy and I better go very fast. I'm like, you must not be busy because you're talking to me and you got a problem. So it don't matter how busy you are. You still got this problem when you hang up with me. So I'm not rushing for a damn thing. I'm not going fast. You know why? Because that's a disservice to you. When you do not realize that if I go fast and all of a sudden I try to appease you and, oh, okay, I'm so sorry, and da-da-da, and I do all that, you know what I'm doing? I'm saying that I actually don't care about your business. Because now I'm trying to say the way you think, the way you act, the way you make decisions is the right way. So therefore, now I'm going to try to match you and just give you exactly what you need, as opposed to saying, you know what? I'm going to value this time, because if I only got 15 minutes with you, if I only got 20 minutes with you, this is going to be the best 15, 20 minutes that you've ever had with anybody, because I'm going to care more about your business outside of you. I'm going to be somebody who cares more about you and your business. And I think that level of leadership, it gives you a sense of just like authority. You're like, I'm not playing this game with you. And I understand there's actually something else going on. For somebody to respond and say, yeah, just tell me what you're doing. Yeah, just tell me the bottom line, brass tacks dollars. It's like, bro, you ain't that famous. You ain't that special. You ain't that somebody that you can just do that to people. You might think you are. You might think you're top dog in something. But at the end of the day, if you're looking for a solution, it means you have a problem. Yeah. So why would I do you the injustice of just going through that? I'm not saying don't be efficient. I'm not saying don't use brevity, cadence, tonality, all those things. But in the context of what we're talking about, someone's just trying to bulldoze their way through you.
And I think a lot of sales professionals worry about, they think in a scarcity mindset where like, oh, I've got someone on the phone. I've got to make this count. But the reality is it's not that you have to make the consult or the call that you're having count. You have to make the time count, which means you need to find out, well, maybe I need to get this person off the phone and go find someone else to talk to, right? That's a better way, in my opinion, to think of it, is find out as quickly as possible, is this someone that I should be spending time on? Because your time is valuable too. If you're a commission-based sales rep, your time is the most valuable asset that you have. And being able to maximize that. If you're taking calls with people, they're just wanting to know the brass tacks, tell them exactly what it is, they're wasting your time. You can come at it with the same level of authority, in my opinion, as they are.
Yep.
Because your commission's on the line.
Mm-hmm. And what a better way to serve somebody than to actually lead them in that moment, than as opposed to bowing the knee and, pandering to their way of decision making. It's like, that's not going to be helpful for them. So why would you submit to that way of thinking yourself? Yeah. Do what's best for them, which is going to be leading and guiding them. So
100%.
Cool. Awesome. This is a great episode. I feel good.
It was fantastic. So if you enjoyed this podcast, this episode, this video, thank you so much for watching. The only thing that we ask is share it with someone. If you found it valuable, you found it helpful, and you know a business owner or a sales professional that would get value out of this, share it. And then, like always, stay sharp.